Show the slightest willingness, and 1,000 angels rush in to help.
Every time I forgave just a little bit, I became less unhappy.
Listen.
We know that as we change our minds, other people are helped to change their minds.
Perhaps you catch a hint of an ancient state not quite forgotten. Listen.
I read one page, and in that one page of reading it, I heard for the first time in a little inner voice that said, "Physician, heal thyself. This is your way home." And I had the most amazing experience of feeling a sense of oneness with the whole world, that there was absolutely no separation, that there was only love.
I was a writer under the administration of President Ford, and I was editorial liaison officer between Ford, Kissinger, and the National Security Council. And my job was to advocate the defense budget and the military weapons that were seen as required. In other words, to spread fear. My assignment also was to write the president's religious speeches, love one another. I saw something of a dichotomy.
Two of the things, obviously, that cause the greatest degree of guilt in all of us here are sex and money. Sex and money are neutral things in which I invest my meaning. If I make sex a very important thing to me and make it something that I need, I'm giving power to sex that sex doesn't have. If I make money something very important to me, which I did for a good portion of my life, then I make money something that it really isn't.
I am responsible for what I see. I choose the feelings that I experience, and I decide upon the goal I would achieve. And everything that seems to happen to me, I ask for and receive as I have asked. Now, that's quite a challenge if we're going to accept that at face value. But in fact, it gives us a sense of direction. It points out to us that we need to take responsibility for the feelings we have, and that if I'm angry, at some level that's a choice.
I would just like to get clarity on what's really going on, and that we don't mislead people thinking this is really Christianity, but just with a slight little touch of difference, it's something radically different. Traditional Christian doctrine is that God made the material world, God made it himself, and that it was very good.
The Course teaches that when we separated from God, which was still in our mind, the world of matter or form still had not come into existence.
In the traditional Christian doctrine, Jesus is the eternal Son of God who then becomes man, takes on a real body and real flesh, as St. John puts it, and then is a redeemer by dying on the cross to forgive our sin.
And what the Course very strongly teaches is that Jesus, again, is not the only Son. We are all part of the same sonship. That the only difference between ourselves and Jesus is that he was the first one to get through. He then becomes like an older brother who reaches back to help everybody else do what he did.
One of the major corrections is the belief that humans and God are separated.
In order to escape from God's wrath, what we did was that we ran out of our mind, as it were, projected that thought of separation, and that projection then became the world.
But yet it's got to be expressed through this body, hasn't it? This is sometimes the drawback, isn't it?
The essence of God, according to the Course of Miracles, is that God is pure spirit. And some of the characteristics of spirit is that it is perfect, it is limitless, it is infinite, and it is eternal. This also must mean that anything that comes from God, that God creates, must also share in those same characteristics or attributes.
The Course can't bring peace to the world. People can bring peace.
I want the peace of God. To say these words is nothing, but to mean these words is everything.